All right, so here's the Module 2 test, 2B test review. So this first part's about slope-intercept form. Now remember, this is the basic form, y equals mx plus b. M represents slope, while b represents the y-intercept. So the slope in a graph, remember we read from left to right, and it's the movement from one point to the next. So if you go up or down, that's the top, and if you go right or left, that's the bottom. Up is positive, right's positive, down's negative, left's negatives. The math going down the table is your slope, and the math for y goes up top on the fraction, the math for x goes on the bottom of fraction. And then for the equation, it's the number in front of x in the equation for slope. For the y-intercept, it's the point on the y-axis. In a table, the y-intercept is when y's number, or what y's number is when x is 0. And then the equation, it's the number that's by itself. Sign in front matters. And you can only find the y-intercept in the slope-intercept form. Point-slope form basics. Again, m is going to be our slope. But this time we have x1, which is our first x, and we do the opposite. And then y1 is our first y. Okay. Now again, we only do the opposite sign when it comes to the equation of point-slope form. The slope on the table, graph, and equation are all the same as slope-intercept form. However, to find the point on a graph, it's the first point you plot on the graph, which is x comma y. The table is the first numbers for x and y on the table, and then for the point on the equation, x is the opposite of the inside number, and then y is the same as the outside number. Next up, we have Mr. Slopeman. So remember, his plus sign means where it's a positive slope. This is how a negative slope shows. Up and down is a undefined slope, and then a side-to-side line is a 0 slope. So that undefined slope is called a vertical line, which means it goes straight up and down on your graph. On a table, all your x values are the same, and in an equation, it's just x equals a number. For your horizontal line, which is your 0 slope, it's straight right and left. All the y's are the same on the table, and if you write the equation, it's y equals some number. Section 1's example, we're going to make tables from equations. So this is a slope-intercept form. So if we have a -7 and then no parentheses around our x, that means we start with 0, -7. If we have a negative, we attach it to our top of the fraction. And remember, this is for your y, so we're subtracting 2 down our y's. This bottom number is for our x's, so we add 3 down our x's. So the rest of our table is 3, -9, and then 6, -11. Looking at this point slope form here, we can put it over 1 for the fraction. Okay, we can put it over 1. Now, this 2, again, is for our y's, and then this 1 that we have here, this is going to be for your x's. We start the table with a 9 and a -7, because remember, the 9 inside is a liar, but the 7 outside is not. And then we add by 2 down the y's, add by 1 down the x's, so we get 10, -5, and then 11, -3. And this is slope-intercept form, and then this is point-slope form. So you'll have examples of each. You have 3 of each to do. Next one, we're going to make an equation from a table. So here we start with 0, -3, so we have the y-intercept. As we go down the table, we're adding by 10 and by 1. And right now it just says y equals 10x minus 3. Now you could write it as 10 over 1, and that is okay. But remember, any number written over 1, we can just write as just that number. I'm cool with either. On the next side here, we start with 8 and 9, so we got to remember that 8's going to be a liar. Going down our table, on the y side, we're going by 3. On the x side, we're going by 4, so our slope is 3 over 4. Inside, we have parentheses x minus 8, because again, that 8's a liar, and then we start with the 9, so we do plus 9. And you'll have 3 of each for you yourself to solve. Next up, we have the graph. So remember, it's going to be up and down on the top, right or left on the bottom. So here, this is slope-intercept form. So this means that we start with this 7. So I start with 7 on the y-axis, and then I go up 3, right 1. Well, I can't go up 3, or I'm sorry, up 2, right 3. I can't do that. So I have to do the opposite movement and go down to left 3. So let's go down to left 3, down to left 3, and there's my graph. Looking at this one, remember we had this is point slope form, so we have x negative 2x minus 5 plus 6. Remember that 5 is a liar, so our point that we are going to plot is 5 comma 6. So I find 5 comma 6. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. So I find 5 for my x, go up to 6 for my y, and here's my point. It tells me go down to right 1, because remember, we got to change this into a fraction and put it over 1. So let's see if we can do that. Can we go down to right 1, down to right 1? And there you go. That's all of your graph. Okay, you're going to do the same thing for these 6 on your own. Next, we have to write the point slope of the equation. So this is our first point, negative 5, 0. And this negative 5, we got to remember, is a liar when we put it into the equation over here. We go right 5 and up 3, and that's represented here. Right 5 up 3, slope is 3 over 5. And then for our point slope, it's x plus 5 plus 0 from here. Our y-intercept is this positive 3, so when we write the slope form, it's y equals 3 over 5x plus 3. Next up, you can do either distribute and combine like terms or plugging in. I'll go through both. So we have a slope of 9, a start point of 3 comma 5, so the point slope form is y is equal to 9 times x minus 3 plus 5. We take that point slope form and we distribute the 9. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 3 is a negative 27. Bring everything else down, combine like terms, negative 27 plus 5 gives us a negative 22, so we have y equals 9x minus 22. Now, if you plug in, our y value is 5, our slope m is 9, our x value is 3, and it doesn't lie here because it's not going into point slope form. And then we don't know b, which is our y-intercept. So we do some mathy math. We got 5 equals 27 plus b. That 27 moves to the dark side, so it's opposite signs, which means it's no longer on this side, the right side here. And 5 minus 27 gives us a negative 22. And look, we end up getting the same answer. I don't care which one you do, but you have to do one of these. Okay? Next up is a word problem. Miss Rawolf caught Mr. Poskett stealing her purple lights, so she started to erase letters off his whiteboard. On the 3rd day, she erased 12 letters. Every 3 days, she erased 7 more letters. So on the 3rd day, she erased 12 letters. So I have 312. Every 3 days, so that means I'm going to add by 3 for the day side, she's going to erase 7 more. So that means I'm going to have 7 more letters erased, which means I add. And here's the rest of the table. Now I wrote the equation, y equals 7 over 3 for the slope, and then we have x minus 3 plus 12 because we have to do the opposite of the x's. Now it wants you to find the slope-intercept form of the equation. I decided to go backwards on my table. And if I go backwards, I get to 0 on the x side, and if I go backwards, I get 5 on the y side, which means I found my y-intercept, so I wrote y equals 7 over 3x plus 5. Remember, slope doesn't change. Then it wanted me to figure out day 15, so what I did to show my work is I went down my table some more to day 15, which gave me 40 letters. Okay, and you are going to do 25 and 26. 27, 28, 29, good gravy, there's always one. You guys are going to do those on your own. They're finding the mistake, okay? All right, everyone, good luck, and I'll talk to you next time.